Hi everybody, welcome to another Facial Friday. It's Lauren here, esthetician at Qatar Med Spa. So today I thought would be really cool, since I kind of walked you through a couple weeks ago me getting the chemical peel, and I actually had you watch me go through the actual treatment itself, as well as show the after and like the healing process. I thought it would be really cool to kind of show you before and after for the microneedling with the PRF. So about a month ago, I actually went into great detail about the PRF and what the benefits are for the skin and what to utilize it for, and that it can be used in microneedling and also with injections. And so I thought it would be cool to actually have you watch me get the microneedling done, and then actually show me like directly after the treatment, and then also post pictures after pictures about a week after, so you can kind of see, kind of like some expectations of what you can expect, and then also for you to see that as long as you take care of your skin before and after, you should have great results without any complications. And so what I'll do is kind of similar to what I did with the chemical peel. I'm actually going to switch over and kind of like discuss with you over me having the treatment, like what's being done, why it's being done, talk to you a little bit about the prep, and then also what I did after. And so I'm going to get ready to switch over. And then when I switch over, I'll start with showing you like what the vials, discussing what's in the vials that I'm using. But to prep, so prior to the treatment, what I did is we do give a topical, right? We don't have you go through that without any topical. So we put a little topical anesthetic on. And then after that, then we cleanse and prep the skin and kind of like degrease the surface, make sure no bacteria or anything is going to be entering the skin while we're doing the treatment. And of course, to get the PRF, we had to do a blood draw. So we did a blood draw. We centrifuged the blood to get access to the fibrins. And in that prior video, you guys can refer back to, I believe it was July 24th. It was like towards the end of the month, where I actually discussed and showed you like what that prep is like, and what to expect in the room when we're doing the blood draw and things like that. And so you can refer back to that video to kind of get a lot more detail, but I kind of discuss it briefly here with the PRF. It's a little bit different than the PRP. The PRP, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with, is the plasma. And so we call it that liquid gold, right? And then the PRF is like its more advanced like cousin, right? It's more advanced brother or sister. Because what happens is we're actually holding on to the stem cells, the fibrin, the plasma, the elastin. So we're actually kind of holding on to some of that. And so the benefit of doing that is that with the PRP, that initial activity that you're going to get in your skin is going to be working, like actively working in the skin for a few hours after your treatment, right? With the PRF, you're going to get that actual active activity in the skin for about a week. So it's really, your skin really has that longevity of actively utilizing those ingredients. And then after that, you're going to get the long-term effects of it. So you're still going to get long-term effects with the PRP, but because of that actual activity that's taking place while it's in this active phase, you're going to get a little more time with that. You're going to get not only, you're going to get quicker results, right? So you're going to have the same prep. You're going to have the same, post-care. You're still going to want to maintain your skin the same way, staying out of the sun for a while. Make sure you're wearing your SPF afterwards, treating your skin pretty gentle the first few days afterwards, especially right after the treatment, because you're going to have those microchannels from the microneedling. But whereas with the PRP, you may need about 4 to 6 treatments depending on what it is you're going after, right? So whether it's acne scars or wrinkles or lines or whatever the case may be, you're going to discuss with your technician exactly what you want to get out of the treatment, and so they'll let you know what type of package you need to do. But with the PRP, you may need about 4 to 6 treatments, right, initially before you reassess. Whereas with the PRF, because of that long-term activity you're getting like right in the beginning, that's going to be greatly reduced, right? Maybe even in half. So you might need 2 PRF treatments as opposed to 4 PRP treatments. And so you want to kind of keep that in mind when you're trying to decide you know, what which way you want to go. And again, they can discuss all of that when you go in for your consultations and discussing what you want to get out of your treatment. With that being said, I prepped my skin. I used the topical anesthetic already prior to what we're getting ready to flip over to, and I'll show you those the vials. And so you'll notice that in the vials, what we're going to be using is not as clear. It's a little bit of opaqueness in the vials, and that's because it still has those other active ingredients in it that we did not centrifuge out. So it's a shorter centrifuge process, and so we're holding on to it, and there's no additives in there. So this treatment is actually going to be fairly quick too in comparison to the PRP, because we have to utilize your plasma. We have to utilize it within a shorter time frame so that the blood doesn't congeal. So we really have to do that before it starts to coagulate. So it's going to be a pretty fast treatment, and we're going to do everything ahead of time before we actually start the treatment. So I'm going to flip over. I'm going to show you what those vials look like, and then I'll walk you through what's being done like in the treatment. And like the different depths that we'll be going to depending on the area of the face that we're working on. So these vials contain the PRF. So my blood has already been drawn, and everything's been centrifuged, and this is what has been extracted. And you'll notice that opaqueness I was talking about here. That's actually what we want. Let us know that we have those stem cells and fibrins that we want to use. And so this is me prior to treatment. So everything has been cleaned and prepped, and my topical has been removed. And of course it wouldn't be Katara without showing us have a little fun behind the scenes. And so here she's starting at the forehead. The skin on the forehead is a bit thinner, so the needle depth is a lot more shallow. And you'll notice that she's making that crosshatch pattern. So we're making sure to go vertically and horizontally, creating those channels. And then also applying the PRF as we go along, so that as we're creating the microchannels, the PRF is able to absorb down into those channels. Now, since we applied the topical beforehand and allowed that to work into the skin, I'm really not feeling very much here. I mean, I can tell that something's being done, so I can feel the movements across the skin, but it's not very uncomfortable at all. Can't wait to see those results. And so now she's moving into the cheek area, and for that you see her adjusting the needle depth. The cheek area, of course, is a lot meatier, so therefore we can increase the depth of the needles. And she's continuing to do the multi-directional use of the microneedle, making sure to get multiple directions to really induce the collagen from every portion of the skin, and then continuing to apply the PRF as we move along, so that it's being able to penetrate as we're doing the treatment. Another thing you'll notice is areas where we tend to get a little bit more of the wrinkles or things like that. We'll pay a little bit more attention to those areas to really make sure that we're inducing the collagen in specific areas of concern. And we'll do the same thing if the issue being addressed were acne scars. We'll really make sure to kind of get in those areas. And so for me, some areas were along the sides of the eye, the pores along the apples of the cheeks and the nose. So you'll notice she spends a little bit more time there for me. And then later on, you'll notice that she's going to spend a little time in my chin area where I have a little more dimpling. And right now she's getting right there by the hairline, where we can sometimes get those lines right alongside the ear and just below the hairline. And so here we're kind of really getting into those smile lines, and then you'll notice she's going to start to transition next into that chin area and really making sure to get the areas that has that dimpling that I was talking about. And of course, we can't forget to do an even treatment. So she's gonna make sure to get into the cheek area, especially those apples where I was concerned about the pore size, and just making sure to do that on this side as well. And notice we're continuing the multi-direction treatment. And again, we're also really getting into those smile lines. And so now we're going to get ready to focus on my chin, where I was talking about having those dimplings when I smile. And so she's just adjusting the needle depth to work in that area. And as always, making sure to apply that PRF ahead of time. Of course, we never want to do microneedle over dry skin, but also to make sure we're helping the PRF and those ingredients that we want to penetrate into those microchannels as we're doing the treatment. And we're still making sure to get the multi-directions. And now we're going to make some more adjustments to the needle depth to get around the lips. And so we're going to, of course, apply the PRF and then also do the lip area. And you may be able to notice that I am starting to get that flushness around the face, which is what we want. That lets us know that we've gotten to the areas that we want to reach with the treatment. So here I'm just letting her know that there are some areas around the jawline that I can feel a little bit more than other areas, but it was still very doable. That might have just been an area where I didn't apply the topical as well as some of the other areas of the face. And so now we're going to get ready to work on the nose, and we make some more adjustments to make the needles a little more shallow again. And with the nose area, it can feel a little funny. It kind of feels like a tickle, or like you might have to sneeze, but you don't. But again, it's just a little funny. It's still very doable. And we're making sure to get both sides of the nose, and then you see the little stamping motion. Sometimes it helps to be a little bit more comfortable around that bridge area where the tissue is a little bit thinner and you're kind of like right next to the cartilage. So a little light stamping in that area, and then really getting into the nostril area to decrease the pore size. She's really concentrating here. Now, sometimes with pores, the skin can become a little more lax, making those pores seem a bit more open and a little more noticeable. And so how the microneedling helps with that is, of course, if we're increasing the collagen, meaning we're tightening the skin, we're lifting the skin, making the skin firmer, we're also reducing the size of the pores, because the skin is starting to kind of close up a bit around those pores. And now we're taking the remainder of the PRF and applying a little bit more of that around the face while the channels are still open. And here she just noticed there are some areas where the flushness isn't as even. So she's just making sure to kind of get in and make sure that those all of the areas of the face are nice and flush. We're just continuing to apply the remaining PRF and also just double checking and making sure we actually got all of the areas nice and even. So we're going to be checking like around the cheeks, around the eyes, around the chin, just making sure everything is nice and flush. And also we're going to make sure to get underneath the brow bone. So I did make sure to apply the topical underneath the brow bone. Of course, we don't do the lid, but we can definitely do the brow bone. And so this is where she's getting into the brow bone, and it kind of gives you a bit of an eye lift. Getting ready for my close-up. And so now what we're gonna get ready to do, we're pretty much done with the microneedling, but we do want to soothe everything before we leave. And so we have a couple of options for that. We have a firming mask, and then we also have a nice cooling hydrating mask. And so we have either option to go, but we want to make sure to apply that while those channels are still open, and it can really absorb those ingredients and then also help to calm the skin. Got a little wave. Hi, Anna. And so I'm going to hang out with this mask for about 10 or 15 minutes and just really let everything soothe and calm before I head out. I'll be sure to wear a visor. I'll be sure to wear a visor when I leave out to protect it from the sun, because I don't want to put SPF on just at this moment. I'll start that the next day, but I'll keep everything nice and gentle. Use a gentle cleanser, use a nice gentle mask. I'll actually continue to use this firming mask after the treatment as part of my post-care to help with the healing process. And I also don't want to use anything with really active ingredients for about a week post-treatment. So this is me directly post-treatment. I have that nice even flushness to the skin. It just kind of looks like I went out to the sun, got a little slight sunburn, and because we use the PRF, the healing process is going to be very quick. So this will be greatly reduced, actually starting the very next day. This is me after having sat with my mask on for about 10 minutes or so before I head outside. And so you'll notice the flushness is already greatly reduced. And so this is a before and after. So that first picture is me before treatment. The next picture is me after. And so again, you can see around the chin area, it's been about a week. And those dimples are greatly reduced, which is amazing. All right, so that was pretty cool, right? And so if you notice, like if you prep your skin properly, all we're looking to get is that flushness, that pinkness in the skin to let us know that we've reached the depth that we want to get to, right? And then you'll notice that in the post, I didn't have any adverse reactions to it, right? I didn't hyperpigment or anything in the skin. Same as I discussed with you with the chemical peel treatment. If you prep your skin and then you take care of your skin afterwards, you should get great results. So please follow what your technician discusses with you as to what your regimen needs to be prior to and then after. Making sure afterwards, like I said, you're not getting into the sun for like long periods of time, right? I'm talking about like sunbathing. So, you don't want to be like out at the beach, like in that direct sunlight. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything to the skin right after the treatment, because those microchannels are open still, right? We created those microchannels to induce the collagen growth and all of that great stuff to initialize that healing process. And in that healing process is going to tell those cells, okay, we need to, create some collagen. We're going to induce some collagen growth with that, with the actual microneedle treatment itself. And then with that, we're then going in and then adding in what those cells need to do that job more efficiently. And so that's what we're using that PRF for. And so those channels are open, and you'll notice afterwards she put some more of that PRF on while those channels were still open. And then we soothed everything down. By the time we left the treatment and we ended, there was just a little bit of flushness. It looked like I just spent a little time out in the sun, right? And then I just make sure to protect it. By the next day, it was literally like I had maybe a slight sunburn is what it looked like. The skin is tighter. You will feel that. So, they'll feel that tightness. Definitely keep the skin moisturized. That's going to be very helpful in your healing process. If you think of your skin as like a flower, if it's like dehydrated, it starts to wrinkle and it's dry. If you bend it and do things to it and manipulate it, it starts to crack and it's brittle. Think of the skin, the cells of the skin in the same way, so that when it's hydrated, it's more flexible. So you can manipulate it, you can do things to it, and that healing process that happens to it is just going to be that much better. Same as with your skin. So keeping your skin hydrated and keeping your skin protected with SPF are going to be key to your healing process. And so you'll notice there's no hyperpigmentation, right? No post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And everything is nice and smooth and tight. And you notice in the after pictures, so this is just one treatment. So this has now been, a little over a week later, and post-treatment. And if you'll notice in the before pictures, these were actually a little deeper, these little lines here. So you'll notice these lines they're not as noticeable anymore. And like right now, so I just make sure to have a clear, fresh, cleansed face. There's nothing on my face right now. So I do want to make sure that we're being completely open about what we're doing. So there's nothing on my face. I cleansed it and I moisturized it with I put on my serum. And so that's all I have on right now. I don't have my SPF on yet, but I will when I leave. The only reason why I have not put it on yet is because the one I use has a little bit of a tint to it. So I thought that would be a little bit of a cheat if I put it on before I did the video. So I literally cleansed my skin, I exfoliated my skin, and I applied on my serum. And so that's all that's on the skin right now. And you'll notice the skin is naturally hydrated. It's the lines here are less visible in this area here. And then even the lines here, like on the side, these are a lot less visible as well. And so what I did was about a month ago, I had the chemical peel about a month ago. And then last week I had the microneedle. And so I put those right off of each other, and I showed you the before and afters. And so with the microneedling, you'll have that initial healing phase, right? When I talk about a little bit of, it looks like it's slightly sunburned for like a day or so, then that's reduced. But what you'll notice is that you'll kind of feel a little bit tighter initially, but you'll get that kind of like visible appearance of the skin healing, and the looks of the skin will start to improve. That'll happen probably about a week or so after the treatment is when you'll start to notice that. And so then again, like when the cells kind of finish their turnover phase, which is then about a month after treatment, then you'll see like even more. So there's like a kind of like a slow progression in what you can expect to see in the skin. So you won't see it like initially right away like you would a filler, but about a week out, that's when you'll kind of start to notice those effects of the treatment. And one of the other things I want to mention is that in what you can expect as far as the treatments, you're going to do your package of the microneedling, right? So whether it's 2 with the PRF, or you've, analyze it and, assess things with your technician that maybe you need an additional 2, or whatever the case may be, what you should expect is long-term results, because what we're doing is we're not topically adding anything to the skin to artificially reduce the appearance of like the lines and the wrinkles and the acne scars or anything like that. What we're doing is we're getting your cells to increase the amount of collagen and the elastins and things like that in the skin. And so that means long term. Now it will need to be maintained, right? Because we're constantly aging. That process does not stop. So what we're gonna do is we're going to do the package, and like it's gonna be about once a month, right? Every 4 to 6 weeks, you're gonna do a treatment that's in your package. And then once that is done and you're where you want to be, you will then come up with a maintenance plan. And so with that maintenance, of course, your home regimen, of course, your facials, hydrofacials, whatever the case may be, in between and throughout, throughout the year. But for the actual microneedling itself, once you finish your package, you should, and get to where you want to be at, you should expect to maybe do a maintenance annually. So maybe come in like once a year and do another treatment of the microneedling with the PRF. And so, like I said, they're going to get long-term results. And then once you do that, then you want to maintain. And I'm sure you've heard me say it on previous videos, but everything is going to be about an 80-20 when it comes to skincare. 20%, meaning me. When you come to see me, you're only seeing me about once a month, right? The rest of that time is going to be you. So that home care, your home regimen is so important. That is the protection of your investment, of the money and the time that you spend with me. So it's going to be very key and very important that you follow whatever the regimen is that your technician recommends for you. And they'll, whatever is best for you, they will work that out with you, take into account your lifestyle, time that you have to do it, all of that kind of stuff. Whatever is going to be benefit to you, we have something for you. How to better use what you have at home. If there's something we need to get you that you do not have, or something that needs to be changed, we'll walk you through whatever that needs to be. But whatever you develop with your technician, it's going to be really important that you follow it, because that's the only way that is going to protect an investment that you made when you come in to see us. And so, like I said, you'll do the once a month. About every 4 to 6 weeks, you'll come in for that package, whether it's 2 times, whether it's 4 times, whatever is determined for your goals, for your skin. Once that's done, for the actual microneedling with the PRF itself, after that, that particular treatment will be about an annual treatment for maintenance, meaning like one time, come in, get another treatment done, and then continue on with your home regimen, and then whatever your usual skin treatments are. Like I said, hydrofacial, chemical peels, light peels, medium depth peels, whatever the case may be, and following that plan for the maintenance. And then, of course, we always say SPF every day. It doesn't matter. We're constantly being bombarded with free radicals. We're constantly being bombarded with UV rays, all that kind of stuff. So antioxidant serums, SPF protection are also going to be important to have in your home regimen. UVA aging, UVB burning, and of course, all this timer from the screens, that HEV light protection as well in your SPF. About 80% of our aging comes from the sunlight. So with that being said, you want to make sure that you're protecting that skin, and anytime you're going outside. So it doesn't matter if it's wintertime, UV rays are still coming through those clouds. So you want to make sure that you're protecting it every day, the entire year. One question we get asked a lot is what you can actually use the microneedling for. Of course, I mentioned before, like aging, right? Lines, wrinkles, things like that. Acne scars, those divots that you can get sometimes when you've had acne, and then the acne is now gone, but then you still have some of those divots. We can use it for that, and then we can also use it for stretch marks and scars. So what that microneedling kind of help like break down that scar tissue that's been created, and then we're then going in with that PRF to help that healing process kind of like start over again, so that the skin can start to heal more evenly, right? So when we get scars or we get like stretch marks, what happened is that healing process of the skin that took place, it healed a little bit uneven, things kind of like bundled in together and like that kind of stuff. It overproduced some things like collagen and things like that, and kind of like got that kind of like tough skin. But what happened with that microneedling, it'll help kind of like start the healing process over again, like break it down, start the healing process over again. But then when we put in the PRP and the PRF, whichever one we use, that's then going in to kind of maybe help that healing process, do it correctly, and then maintaining the hydration levels and things afterwards as well, so we can use it for pretty much anything. Again, we're putting in that healing process with the PRP and the PRF, right? We're putting in there the cells what they need to heal. So you'll also notice other benefits, right? You'll notice, things start to like tighten. You'll notice things start to even up, even like your skin tone and pigmentation and things like that. I'll still get some benefits because now the cells have what they need to function. And anytime you have properly functioning skin cells, you're going to have healthier skin. And I also want to mention there's a couple of things you can do to boost the results of your microneedling with the PRF or the PRP, or whenever you're doing microneedling. You can always increase your results by also adding in a dermaplaning session. We'll maybe do a video on that in the future, but dermaplaning is going to exfoliate the skin, also remove that the vellus hairs or that baby peach fuzz that we have on our skin, especially if you have a lot of peach fuzz, a lot of baby fuzz. If you remove that and you get that physical exfoliation prior to, you're going to get better results, because when you're using that PRF and you're applying it to the skin, that's less barrier for it to go through before it actually goes into the skin. So yes, the microneedling helps, but then if you have a lot of like peach fuzz and you have a lot of vellus hairs on the surface, that's of course going to be absorbing some of it. So dermaplaning is something that's great to add on and boost like any treatment. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And so you can actually set up a package where that's included. And yeah, so maybe I'll do a video on the dermaplaning so you guys can see that too. And so hopefully you enjoyed those results. If you have any questions, you can feel free to give us a call if you want to discuss the treatment. And if that's something that would be beneficial to what you're trying to achieve with your skin, definitely schedule some time to do a consultation with us. Our consultations are complimentary, so we can always discuss what your package would look like, what we recommend for you. If there's something that you need to do beforehand to get your skin prepped before doing the treatment, we can walk you through that as well, and make sure you know how to schedule it based on if you're going to have like events coming up, or something's going to be arising in your schedule, and making sure that your healing process and your treatment fits well around your schedule. And so with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this Facial Friday. And start to tune in next week. Next week, we'll be going over a few products. Look out for a little deal coming up within the next week. So stay tuned, and we'll see you back in the next one. Bye.